Hello there and welcome to Granada Reports.
On the programme this evening.
The budget black hole, how hospices will struggle to find an additional £11,000 a month to stay afloat.
So there will be some patients who don't get the services, don't get the care that they need.
Toxic chemicals and illegal drugs, just some of the ingredients found in vapes being sold on our streets.
Firefighters attacked while responding to a 999 call, a plea for support from our emergency services ahead of the busy bonfire weekend.
Amorim in. Manchester United confirm Ruben's reign as their new head coach, but he won't be making his debut just yet. And how Dino Dad Andy Day brought Heswell to a halt with junior Jurassic fans at his half-term book signing. Good evening. Scientists say smoking illegal vapes is like playing Russian roulette with your health. Devices tested at a specialist facility at Manchester Metropolitan University were found to contain traces of the drugs spice and THC, an active component in cannabis.
The vapes were seized as part of recent raids by the police and trading standards, who warn consuming just a small amount could cause serious side effects. Victoria Grimes has tonight's top story.
Hello mate, my name's Damien Reid, I'm a Detective Sergeant with Greater Manchester Police.
It's raids like these that help get suspected illegal vapes off the market. Innocent-looking packages hiding potentially dangerous ingredients within. And customers have no idea what they're buying. Scientists at Manchester Metropolitan University's Mandrake Lab have been testing vapes seized by police in recent raids. It's a process which shows exactly what's in them. Amongst them, so-called THC vapes, the active ingredient in cannabis.
So we've actually quantified this, and there's actually about 40% THC in.
40% THC.
Herbal cannabis is usually around between 8 and 12% THC content. So you're looking at potentially at least 3.5 to 4 times more potent than herbal cannabis on the street. Through the research that we've been carrying out and the work we've been doing with the police, we've tested a number of vapes over the last few months, and probably about 90% of them have actually been found to contain compounds which are potentially hazardous to health, whether they be high content THC or whether they be actual synthetic cannabinoids like spice. Therefore, you're playing Russian roulette in terms of what you might actually be consuming.
This is the first public-funded permanent testing lab in the country. Its work helps university researchers who are monitoring substance use across the region, and they've identified some concerning trends, especially amongst younger people. Professor Rob Ralphs is leading the research.
You think it's a nicotine vape, and there's no way of knowing from looking at that whether it's THC, whether it's spice or whether it's nicotine. What we get is a lot of reports from typically as a young person around 14, 15. They've bought what they thought was a THC vape, they've used it at school, they've used it in the toilets, they've had a few drags with their friends, and then they've become unwell, disorientated. The school have phoned an ambulance, and then they've ended up being blue lighted to A&E as well.
And with so many illegal products readily available, the message is just because it's on sale, it doesn't mean it's safe. Victoria Grimes, ITV News, Manchester.
Hospices across the northwest say they've been left with a funding black hole following the government's budget. The rise in employers' national insurance contribution means many now have to find thousands of pounds more each year to cover the additional cost.
Yes, the NHS and rest of the public sector are exempt from the tax rise, but that doesn't cover private care homes or hospices which provide NHS services. Well, one hospice in Chester has told Granada Reports they now have to find an additional £180,000 to cover national insurance and living wage payments.
And they're not alone. Our reporter Lauren Ostrich has been to St Luke's Hospice in Winsford, who say they may have to cut vital services to cover their costs.
St Luke's Hospice in Winsford holds a special place in Vera's heart. 4 years ago, her husband Joe received respite care here after he was diagnosed with terminal cancer.
My husband was in for a month and they were absolutely fantastic. In fact, everybody I know that's done anything to do with St Luke's has been, you know, full of praise of them. They can't do enough. I knew he had cancer and I know he only had short time to live, but it was other things that St Luke's sorted out for me. So, you know, because he was losing so much weight, he wouldn't eat or anything like that, and they sorted all that out for me. I can't put into words how good they are.
Over the last 4 decades, St Luke's has proven vital for this community, but it comes at a huge cost. Along with dozens of other hospices across the northwest, it relies heavily on donations. Just 15% of their funding comes from the government.
I have made my choices, the responsible choices.
And now, with the recent rise in national insurance contributions for employers in the autumn budget, private care homes, some GPs and hospices like St Luke's will be forced to fork out even more.
Certainly it was a shock when we heard the news. It's an extra £11,000 per day. So in total over the year it's about £130,000 extra funds that we need to find. It puts pressure on the services, definitely, from a financial point of view. Normally when prices go up with inflation or energy utility bills, you can pass those on to your customers. Our patients, we don't charge our patients. Our special care is delivered for free.
In 2023, it cost £5.6 million to run the hospice. That's £15,000 a day, equating to £10.60 a minute. Hospice bosses say it now faces the terrifying prospect of cutting those crucial services.
We will have to make a very difficult choice about the services which we can provide. And at this moment in time, we are trying to provide as many services as possible. There will be some patients who don't get the care that they need.
This is a classic example where there's a huge amount of reform that needs to take place, because you have to be able to deliver services for people more effectively, as opposed to just spending more and more money. And that's the big job that the Health Secretary and this government has in the years ahead. Charities that get their existing exemptions, not just from employer national insurance, but also from business rates, will still be able to benefit from the schemes in the way they've been designed.
The Health Secretary says he will look into the impacts of the national insurance change, but hospices hope it'll be sooner rather than later, so families like Vera, who desperately need the service, won't go without. Lauren Ostrich, ITV News.
Well, next tonight, a plea from our emergency services to think about the devastating consequences wasting their time has.
Firefighters, police and paramedics across the region are preparing for their busiest weekend of the year. But rather than being able to focus on helping those most in need, they're having to deal with made-up call-outs, deliberately set fires and are even being targeted themselves.
Yes, take a look at this. Firefighters in Manchester arriving to an emergency, and instead of being able to help, they had lit fireworks thrown at them.
And this isn't an isolated incident. During the Halloween and bonfire period last year, there were 22 attacks on firefighters across Greater Manchester.
Police and the fire services received more than 1,000 hoax calls.
And there were more than 10,000 incidents of antisocial behaviour, a 20% increase on the year before.
Well, our correspondent Rob Smith joins us live from Stretford Fire Station this evening. Rob, how are the crews there feeling about the weekend ahead?
Well, the reality is that they just don't know what they're dealing with on this weekend to come. It begs belief, really, that this time of year, these life-saving machines and the people on them that are dedicated to saving lives are more likely to be called out to a hoax than at any other time of year. The team here have gone to a fire alarm, a genuine call-out tonight, but one firefighter telling me, actually, they don't know what they're venturing out to around bonfire night, and they do feel sometimes as if they're being treated as targets in a uniform rather than actual human beings. One man who's been targeted in the past, Ben Levy from Greater Manchester Fire and Rescue Service. Ben, thank you for taking the time tonight. You were telling me about you being on one of these fire engines years gone by, fireworks being thrown inside the cab.
Yeah, that's quite extreme, but abuse or any violence towards any firefighter or any emergency service worker is illegal. It will not be tolerated, and it can result in a prison sentence if convicted.
Your colleague who had those fireworks fired, and we saw those pictures before, was off work for weeks on end. What kind of effect does that have on your team?
Well, you imagine the impact. These are firefighters that are just going out to do their job, to serve their community, and we should allow them to do that. Their job is dangerous enough as it is, without antisocial behaviour causing them harm. Their job is already dangerous. We can train for that, but unfortunately sometimes, such as this time of year, over 10,000 incidents of antisocial behaviour towards firefighters and emergency services. It's just not acceptable.
Those numbers not acceptable and absolutely staggering. How do we get that message through to the minority of people that are doing this year after year?
It is the minority. The majority are celebrating safely, and I think please respect your emergency service workers, especially firefighters and others keeping us safe this time of year, because if we're engaged in responding to antisocial behaviour, these fire engines can't respond to the proper emergencies.
And that's the worry, isn't it? That there'll be people who could be put in danger because these things are off doing something they shouldn't be doing.
Absolutely. Our resources are not limitless. And if they're dealing with antisocial behaviour, with people throwing fireworks in the streets and the like, they can't be responding to house fires, road traffic collisions and other life-saving emergencies.
Ben, we appreciate your time tonight. It is a fun time of year, but it's fun that needs to be done safely. Fundamentally, that is not what the people attacking these engines and the people on them are all about.
Rob Smith live there at Stretford Fire Station. Thank you. Difficult to believe that people would attack the emergency services, but they walk among us, don't they, these people?
Incredible, isn't it? Now, a terror attack survivor from Lancashire has been named as the youngest official representative for the royal family. Travis Frayne from Darwin was injured on Westminster Bridge 7 years ago. The 26-year-old is now the new Deputy Lord Lieutenant for Lancashire. He'll work with the royal family during official functions across the county.
Yeah, good luck to him. Still to come on tonight's programme. A day to remember. Children's presenter and author Andy Day meets dinky dino fans that are signing for his new book.
And it's the weekend. This one has got lots of bonfires and fireworks thrown in, but what's the weather going to be like? I will tell you before the end of the programme.
Well, on to sport now, and the news that Manchester United fans have been waiting all week for.
Ruben Amorim has today been confirmed as their next manager.
Yeah, Chris is here, but Chris, those fans are going to be kept waiting just a little while longer yet.
Yeah, that's right. Ruben Amorim has described this process as a soap opera, but compared to some other managerial appointments, this has all happened pretty quick. Manchester United have taken just 4 days to appoint Erik ten Hag's successor. It'll be another 10 days before we see him in Manchester. United were unwilling to buy him out of his notice period with Sporting, so Amorim will stay there for 3 more matches, starting with a Portuguese league match tonight, and that's when he's chosen to finally break his silence on his move to Old Trafford. He will address it in his post-match press conference, and that's when we'll start to get a few clues as to what style of football he wants to bring to United, and maybe a few clues as to whether that means a big overhaul of the playing staff, as many have suggested.
Yeah, many questions for him, isn't there? So come on then, when are we actually going to see him in the United dugout?
Well, he joins at the start of a 2-week international break, and United's first game after that will be at Ipswich on November the 24th. United have given him a contract until the summer of 2027 with the option of a further year, and United are going to pay Sporting some £9 million in compensation for a man they've described today as one of the most exciting and highly rated young coaches in European football. There's plenty more on Ruben Amorim on our website, including that feature we had on Ruben's rise to fame last night on Granada Reports. That's all on itv.com/Granada. Well, United have yet to confirm who will be in Amorim's backroom staff, so Ruud van Nistelrooy will continue to show his credentials as interim boss. He's had a pep talk from Sir Alex Ferguson and a 5-2 win in the League Cup in midweek. Now, ahead of the Premier League clash with Chelsea, the former United striker has been drilling into the players the ethos of the club.
My team talk, I'm standing in front of the team, telling them about what Manchester United is about and what it is to play at Old Trafford, and what songs are being sung by the fans and why. So you try to transmit that feeling, that lovely feeling for playing for this club, and I think it's a proud moment.
getting that winning feeling. FOW, sponsors of the Granada Sport Report.
Well, now we turn to another landmark moment in the sporting calendar. The FA Cup is back with Curzon Ashton bidding to pull off the biggest shock of round one. The National League North side bring League One high flyers Mansfield Town to the Tameside Stadium. It's the third year running they've reached this stage, but now they have a leader with giant killing on his CV. Tameside boasts 3 World Cup winners in Jimmy Armfield, Simona Perotta and Sir Geoff Hurst. Now Curzon Ashton want to add to their proud past and earn stories to share with their workmates come Monday morning.
Everyone's part-time here, everyone's got jobs during the day, salespeople, plasterers, builders. As you can hear, there's a lot of laughter, a lot of bubbly, and it's going to be one of them days where we just turn up and just give it our all and see what happens again.
While these players enter this game on the back of some great form, they're currently second in the National League North. Their opponents are hoping to be a championship side this time next year, so this is a huge ask, and yet their manager has form for a cup shock. In 2014, Craig Marn was the hero of non-league Chester, shocking League Two Southend just hours after becoming a dad to twins.
We've got Micah Fouet.
With the best backflips in the world.
Best backflips in the league, definitely.
A decade later, those twins are Curzon Ashton's superfans.
Memories, they're amazing, but now to be able to share them memories with them in person is fantastic. And as a father, you just want to make your boys proud of you. So now to watch us in the FA Cup fourth round proper is a dream come true.
I'm very excited to watch my dad because I think he's doing very, very well in the FA Cup, and I get to cheer him on in the matches and see how good he's doing, and one day I might become a manager like him. It's a very special moment to me because not many dads get to play in the FA Cup. If he loses, he's a bit grumpy, but if he wins, he's excited.
Craig Manny, 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 Manny.
I call him the Dublin Dynamo. He's got everyone together, from the board all the way to the fans. We're all part of one team, and he always says it.
We're a team on the up. We're doing really well in the league.
Some of the stuff we've been playing this year, we'll give them a right game. Looking forward to it, but a little bit nervous.
Craig comes from a family of cup giant killers. Uncle Alan Marn helped Tranmere shock Bolton to reach the League Cup final, while cousin Andy Reid helped Nottingham Forest embarrass Premier League West Ham in the FA Cup. Games like these are in his DNA.
I got to watch them growing up playing in the FA Cup, so it's like a full circle now for me to be here and my boys to see it as well. It's just brilliant. Let's see what happens, see if the magic of the cup is still alive.
As player manager, he's warned his players that any dip in standards and he'll bring himself on for one last crack at FA Cup glory. Yes, good luck to Curzon Ashton and to our other non-league clubs, Rochdale and Oldham, although Oldham faced Tranmere, so we'd better wish both sides good luck for that one.
Yes, we have to remain impartial, and Curzon Ashton deserve to win just because they've got a great name, I think.
And we love his sons as well. I love that. He's grumpy.
They're such good talkers. Such good talkers. They're brilliant. They stitch you up, kids, don't they? As soon as you put them in front of the camera, you never know what they're going to say.
Thanks, Chris.
Well, staying with a sporting theme now, to meet 2 inspirational North West footballers hoping to lead England to glory at 2 different World Cups.
Yes, Sasha Bowman from Lancaster is part of the women's amputee team heading to Colombia, while Salford's Jayden Kenyon will represent England at the Cerebral Palsy World Cup in Spain.
Well, before their tournaments kick off, they both came in to tell me how they hope having success will help inspire others with a disability.
It means everything to me. I'm so excited to go. I never thought I'd be able to. Like, growing up, I've always loved to play football, but unfortunately, like, having my disability, it kind of held me back. So to be able to go now in a disability team and represent England, it's really fantastic.
And Jayden, for you?
Yeah, it's just amazing. Every time you wear that England shirt, you know, no matter what tournament it is, you give it everything, and yeah, I just can't wait.
And Sasha, for you and your team, have had to raise £50,000 because your team's a charity, isn't it? So to raise that money to get you out there, just tell us about that effort and what it means, the support that you've had.
Yeah, so we've had to raise the money ourselves, so thanks to the public for the support, because without them we wouldn't be able to go, so thanks so much.
And tell us about your team as well then, the amputee team.
For me, I'm a keeper because I have an upper limb disability. The outfield players, they've got an amputation on their legs and they use crutches to get about. Thankfully, we're all a family and we're all supporting each other on this journey because it's the first Women's World Cup. So, you know, it's the first time we're all going out there. So, yeah, it's really great.
You guys are pioneers for the sport, aren't you?
Yeah.
And Jayden, for yourself, just tell us how you got into playing football as well.
I played for my local team, CP Northwest, and the lads were telling me there was an England team. Went through to a football trial at England, didn't think anything of it, got selected, and it's just been upwards ever since.
Upwards and success as well already.
Yeah.
You won a silver medal, came second at the Euros, didn't you?
Yeah, can we just say that's the first time the team's ever won a medal in the history of CP football of England. And it was my first tournament as well, so what a great first tournament that was.
Did you think there was a possibility to go on and achieve all you've done in the game?
So growing up, obviously, I never knew like there was football teams, there was no hope that you can do things with your disability if you put your mind to it. Just have hope and belief that you're on this earth with a disability to achieve something.
You guys are pioneers, and Sasha, that's an important message out there, isn't it? That you want to get out there.
Absolutely. I mean, the funding that we're getting, this isn't just for our women's team, it's for the men's and it's for the juniors who now look up to us, and hopefully in the future, like, they'll be able to go to tournaments as well. So it's really great.
Final question. Is football coming home not once, but twice?
Yeah, go on then. We'll try our best.
Guys, thank you so much for coming in and talking to us today. We wish you all the best as well out there.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, no pressure, Jayden and Sasha, but we expect. Anyway, finally tonight, he's been described as the nation's favourite unofficial babysitter with millions of little fans across the country. Andy Day is a kind of big deal for kids.
And parents, don't forget, and us. We love him as well, he's a legend. Well, the dinosaur enthusiast is not only a TV presenter, frontman of a children's band, but also an author who caused quite a stir at a signing of his new book on the Wirral.
I went along to meet him and his army of pint-sized paleontologists.
Hi, I'm Andy, and this is the band.
If you're not a child, or you don't look after children, you probably won't know Andy Day from Adam. So just trust me on this. He's like Ed Sheeran for the under-7s. The children's TV presenter isn't just in a band. He's a bit of a dinosaur expert too.
Hello. Thank you for waiting.
So when he came to Lingham's bookshop at Heswall on the Wirral, they queued out the door and through the shop, clutching their copies of his children's book, Dino Dad, Ice Age.
So it's very educational, but it's also a fictional story about a family called the Thumb family who go on an adventure. They have a magic ammonite shell that takes them to a land called Dinotropolis, where dinosaurs live and walk like us.
And lots of his little fans were dressed for the occasion.
I've been doing kids TV for 18 years now, so what's really lovely is you get a spectrum of, 1-2-year-olds all the way up to 23-year-olds. I had a young lad ride past me in a park the other day on a bike, stopped on his bike, turned around and said, "Are you Andy? I study paleontology because of your programme." And it's so lovely to hear things like that.
Meeting their hero was clearly the highlight of the half-term holidays, not least for 5-year-old Charlie and his big brother Alex. What's your favourite dinosaur?
A Triceratops.
You like the Triceratops as well. Why is that?
He's big and he has a big neck.
We're loving the big necks round here.
We got to talk to him and get our picture taken with him.
That is fantastic. Can you remember what you said to him? No. It's too much, isn't it?
I see him on the telly, but I also like seeing him in person. And the push down trees.
What was that like?
Quite cool.
Quite cool?
Just cool.
Now, I've kept my cool with pop stars and politicians and even a prince. But I had to get a photo with Andy. Dinosaurs! This'll up my cred with my kids. And when it was time to go...
See you, George.
Little George made sure Andy knew who was his biggest fan.
Ah, take care.
I love that.
You see, both my children don't care that I present Granada Reports. They didn't care when I met Paul McCartney, but when I told them I was meeting Andy, their jaws dropped. They were very, very impressed.
You have got a lot of street credit with your kids now, haven't you? There we go. They're like, do you know what? Call Mum.
Now, fingers crossed for some dry weather for those of us venturing out to firework displays this weekend. Here's James with the forecast.
Have you burnt tea again?
I'm scraping the cooled oil into the bin, not the sink.
Can we eat outside? It's nice.
United Utilities sponsors ITV Granada weather.
There, good evening. Plenty of cloud around today, although we did see one or two brighter spells. That's how we've gone into November, but looking back at October, it was actually quite mild, about a degree or so above average across the whole of the month. Mainly dry, let's not say completely dry. And actually, there was an average amount of sunshine, but like I say, we've gone into November with lots of cloud around, and that's because this high has got a lot of cloud trapped underneath it, and it will continue to hover nearby over the next few days. The good news is that whilst it's settled, it won't be particularly sunny, but it will continue to be mild. We've got mild air coming up from the south pretty much throughout the whole period, and any Atlantic nasties will stay well out towards the west of us. Overnight tonight then, a few clear spells around and about, but notice how we've started to see this thicker cloud move down from the north. That's a dying cold front. We might pick up a little bit of drizzle up on the higher ground, certainly some mist and hill fog. Elsewhere, generally cloudy and mild. Lows pretty much in double figures across the board. So tomorrow then, bit of a grey start, murky start for some, but then once we get behind that front, we might start to see a little bit of brightness developing once again. Just some slightly drier air moving up from the continent. Might take a while to get to us. Temperatures though remaining on the mild side, we're looking at 2 or 3 degrees up on where we'd expect at this time of year, topping out at around 13 or 14 Celsius. As to what happens next, well, like I say, it's sort of rinse and repeat. As I suspect we're going to see lots more clouds, some bright spells, light breezes, and temperatures, well, not doing too badly for the time of year.
It's a little bit burnt.
United Utilities sponsors ITV Granada weather.
Hey, that's nice. The weather looks pretty decent for the weekend. No soggy fireworks or anything like that, getting absolutely soaked.
Stay safe and good luck to all the emergency crews. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.